Okay, how do I begin this video? Let's get to talk about my low, my high, and my act of kindness. So, I would say that my low is it got particularly hot yesterday. Almost to the point where, hold on a second. Sorry, my computer's like right below me. There we go. And like for whatever reason, it looked like it was pressing a button a lot, but I just fixed it. So, actually, you know what? That's my low. I was interrupted right there because honestly, I don't really have much of a low to speak of. My high, on the other hand, was I got to witness Chuggaaconroy finish up Splatoon 2 yesterday. I'll be talking about that momentarily. And my act of kindness was I actually ran a couple errands for my grandmother. Specifically, she wanted to get something from a place called Bob Evans. It's like one of those like old like breakfast places or something. I personally have never eaten at Bob Evans, but I actually have heard a few good things about it. And she wanted a lemonade from legendary ice cream stand in Corning, Hokey Pokeys. One of these days I'll probably get into more elaborate detail on Hokey Pokeys, but it's a pretty, it's just an ice cream store. It's like, I believe it was given the title of World's Best Micro Creamery. So, again, I'll get into that another time. So, good morning. And happy Tuesday, everyone. Can't believe it's Tuesday already. Interesting. Okay. So I mentioned that Chuggaaconroy just finished Splatoon 2. For real this time. Well, I say sort of for real. He's going to do one more bonus video just to tie up any loose ends. He always does that for every Let's Play. But when it comes to all potential story content in Splatoon 2, Chuggaaconroy is finished. And this is actually something I thought was really cool because he was finishing up Splatoon 2 by doing the Octo Expansion. And I talked about the Octo Expansion before. Literally one of the biggest themes of that DLC is the number 8. You see the number 8 everywhere in the Octo Expansion. Obviously 8 in Octo. Octo is Latin for 8, so there you go. And Chuggaaconroy actually pointed out, and keep in mind, he even said himself, he did not plan for this whatsoever. Like, no way did he ever plan for this. Because whenever he comes out with a new video of a Let's Play, it's obviously, episode numbers, right? Splatoon 2 officially ended on episode 64. For those of you who have forgotten how to do square roots of math, the square root of 64 is, you guessed it, 8. He didn't mean to plan that to happen. It just did. And I gotta give Chuggaaconroy all the credit in the world. Because during the credits, he explained just how much of an endeavor this was. He had to enlist the help of a lot of people, specifically other Let's Players and some really great Splatoon players, in order to get the information on like aspects of the game, the weapons you can use, how stages work, lore of the story. In fact, get this, the final battle of the Octo Expansion, how it ends, was actually foreshadowed way in the early stages of the base game. And the DLC Octo Expansion didn't come out until much later. So, there you go. It's just, man, I really am impressed with just how much lore Splatoon has. It's just, it's good. It really is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let's see. Needless to say, this video is dedicated to Chuggaaconroy and his endeavor when it came to, finishing Splatoon 2 as a whole, which it still feels kind of weird I'm talking about Chuggaaconroy finishing a game, simply because reminder, the game he did before this was Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and he worked on that for over 16 months. Actually, was it? Yeah, 16 months. And now he's finished with Splatoon 2, which is remarkably... you have to remember, like, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was like 200 some episodes. Meanwhile, Splatoon 2 was 64. So, yeah, it's pretty smaller number. He said he had 2 projects after doing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And it's very clear Splatoon 2 was one of them. So now, that gets into the other project. Whenever Chuggaaconroy does a finale video, well, first of all, Chuggaaconroy always mentions that every time he does a finale, he always has like a wicked headache. I don't blame him. Because the finale usually entails he's fighting the final boss of like said game he's playing and whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, trying to talk in a microphone, telling everyone what to do, because that's essentially what a Let's Play is supposed to do. It's supposed to help a casual gamer out, while trying to do your best against the final boss. It can be really stressful. Like, honestly, whenever I see Chuggaaconroy lose, sometimes it's really cringeworthy. If it's like a battle that you really shouldn't lose whatsoever. And that's happened before. But if it's the final boss, I'm like, bro, there's no shame in what you're trying to do here. Not at all. Chuggaaconroy even said, for the final boss of Splatoon 2, the Octo Expansion DLC that is, like, don't feel bad if you can't do this in your first try. Because you constantly have to be moving in order to do this. In fact, if I recall correctly, Chuggaaconroy had about 4 seconds of the 3 minutes he had to do to finish the boss. So, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. So, outside of the fact he had a headache, the finale video also sets up with what he's going to be doing next. He always does this, in which he gives a very vague hint as to what the next Let's Play he's going to do is going to be. Now, this is a particularly interesting hint, because right out of the gate, the hint reveals that it's the most important game of his childhood. Now, that already sounds incredibly vague. And it is. I really could not tell you or make any guesses to what that game is. Especially when you consider the fact that childhood... I just realized, no one ever really pays attention to how long a childhood is. Like, does childhood end when you turn 13 and become a teenager? Or maybe you're just a kid at heart, and maybe you're a child forever. A la Peter Pan. Who knows? But the fact that Chuggaaconroy revealed that this particular game he's going to be doing next is the most important game of his childhood leaves a huge range of what that game could be. So with that said, I can definitely tell you what it probably will not be. And I mentioned this several times in the past. I really want Chuggaaconroy to do Twilight Princess, but I don't think he's going to do it. And it's a real shame, too, because if there's one thing Chuggaaconroy really loves to talk about in his games, it's the importance of, setup, atmosphere, and music. And Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess has all those details in spades. This would be like the perfect game. It sounds like it'd be the perfect game for him to do. But I don't think that's going to be it. It won't. I can already tell it's not going to be. But then again, we have to remember, I literally just said no one really knows how long a childhood is. And if I recall correctly, Twilight Princess didn't come out until just before the Wii was released. Because originally you could still play that game on the GameCube. The GameCube's run, for the most part, the Nintendo Wii was released in 2006. Or 2005, 2006, somewhere in that area. Chuggaaconroy is relatively my age. So he was 14, 15 years old at that time. Roughly. Maybe it could be Twilight Princess. If you're calling the fact that you're in your teens still a quote-unquote childhood. But even that's a complete stretch. I mean, and it's so strange he's saying that whatever game it is the most important game of childhood, because with every new game Chuggaaconroy does, you actually do get to learn a little bit more about his personal life, like his experiences with this game, like what he wound up doing when he first played it, what he learned or did not know prior to playing this game, and now, he learned something from this, and he now conveys that information to the rest of his audience. And it feels like he's done that with every game he's ever played. I mean, could he be re-releasing Earthbound? Well, he already did that. Yeah, he's done Earthbound twice, actually. So perhaps another game? I mean, he's done every mainstream Mario game that's not Super Mario Odyssey. So it can't be that. It couldn't be a Mario and Luigi game either, or Luigi's Mansion 3. I mean, important game is childhood. No. He could be. Could he be doing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time? Because it would fit a lot of boxes in that. I mean, for a lot of people, just because of its scope and magnitude, and just like the history behind that game, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is the most important game of lots of people's childhoods. Heck, my brother, my cousin, and I played that game. And I have to agree, it really is just a masterpiece of a game. For those of you who don't know, IGN usually has, once did ranged every Zelda game from 1 to 10. And no surprise here, nothing got less than a 6 or whatever. So, needless to say, Legend of Zelda's reputation is still intact. Ocarina of Time is one of 2 games that ever got a 10 out of 10. That's how important this game is. The other one was Breath of the Wild, in case you were wondering. And no, I don't think Chuggaaconroy is going to be doing that game. Good Lord. That game might actually be the only thing that's about as long as a Xenoblade game. I think this next game may be something Zelda related. I really think it is. The only other game I could possibly think of the only games I could think of that could also follow in that description, just because of, entertainment value and how popular they are even now, would be Kirby Superstar. He'd probably be doing Kirby Superstar Ultra on the Nintendo DS. Or any of the Donkey Kong Country games. He could. He could probably do all 3 games in one. I mean, the Donkey Kong Country games really aren't that long. He could probably do all those. But I think a safe bet would be, yeah, it's going to be something Zelda related. I really think it's going to be something Zelda related. Maybe I could see a very strange I could see him doing Black 2 and White 2 maybe. But then again, those games didn't come out. Actually, I was in my 20s when those games came out. So it's very likely so was he. Again, if you want to follow the logic that you're a child forever, you can still say that's his childhood. Waiting for this next hint is going to be interminable, isn't it? I can tell you what isn't interminable. Hoping that you liked this video, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe. It helps out my channel greatly. You can follow me on social media. I'm on lots of different places. As always, I am very humble to make this video for all of you guys who watch and enjoy. For me, it will be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend me. I was right back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.